In H-Town, we want news that speaks truth, just like we do.
ADNC keeps me informed and him inspired.
We've been through too much to trust mainstream media. This feels like us.
From the D to the diaspora, ADNC is how I stay woke. We binge ADNC like it's Netflix, but smarter.
They speak on us, but never for us. ADNC does.
No fluff, no filters, just the truth, daily.
From Wall Street to 125th, we're watching our news.
Download the African Diaspora News Channel app today to stay connected to the culture.
Well, hello, ADNC family. I hope all is well. It is hump day, and we are in the middle of the week. We're making our way towards the end of the week, and I hope all's well, as I said, with everybody. Today, we're going to talk about anti-Black racism at the hands of these race soldiers. And we're heading all the way back to the racist province of Quebec. And I have every right to call it that because I lived there. I grew up there and I experienced a lot of it. Okay. And clearly, based on this story, nothing has changed. So I'm going to set the stage for you because once I play the video, it kind of just goes right into the altercation that took place between the police and this brother. So here's the story. A passenger got on the bus and was $1 short with his fare. There was another Black man on the bus, and he saw the altercation. The bus driver refused to move unless he paid or got off. So, as I said, Black man was on the bus, good Samaritan. He said to himself, you know what? Let me pay that $1 for him so that he can get on the bus, okay? So he did. He did the nice thing. He paid the $1 for the man, and then he said to the bus driver, can we go now? Basically, like, I paid. He's good now. The bus driver called the police on this man and told the police that he was assaulted and that he was spat on. So now the police come. 8 cars show up. All right. 8 cars. Of course, when I know they thought it was a Black person, I'm pretty sure that bus driver said so. And as I said, 8 cars showed up. So now I will play the video so you could see what happened on the bus.
This is really what we're doing. Why? This is really what we're doing. Why? This is really what we're doing. You pay this thing. What is this? To the max. Go to the max. To the max. To the max. Bro, to the max. What did the man do? I paid the money. This is really what we're doing. This is fun, man. This is not nice. This is not nice. I paid the money. Why are you touching the man? You understand? We pay. What is this money? Why is this guy? This is ridiculous. The man gave $2. Why the guy before? They can't put the guy again. This is ridiculous. I mean, come on. But he pays money. The guy pays. I'm not recording this. Brother, I paid. Brother, what are you talking to me again? This is not fair. Brother, let me again. Brother. No, I'm recording my phone, man. This is what's wrong. I can't get up. Brother, what is wrong with you guys, bro? Brother, what is wrong with you? Let me move out of my phone first. Bro, what? This is what we're doing. Bro, this is not right. This man is I paid the money. See? This is what we're doing. What is this, bro? What are you guys doing, bro? What are you doing, bro? You don't like bro, what is this? I can't even get up, bro. I can't even get up. You're on me. What is this? Bro, I'm trying to get up. What the f*** you guys doing, bro? Hold on. Bro, what is this? Is police brutality, man. This is brutality, bro. I'm trying to get up. Give me a second, nothing. Brother, let me get up. Brother, let me grab my thing, bro. What the thing?
So I'm going to set the stage again. They're all on the bus. A passenger was $1 short in his fare. The bus driver said, either pay or get off the bus. The black man who is being, roughed up by the police said, let me pay for this man's dollar that he's short by so that the bus can move, because the bus driver refused to move the bus. Everybody's on the bus. They got somewhere to go. So he paid for the man and then said, can we go now? The bus driver didn't like that. How dare a black man talk to him that way? How dare a black man step in? By the way, I'm pretty sure the person who was short by that dollar fare is also black, just because of the way he was behaving. The fact that he would not even move the bus once the fare was paid suggests to me it was a black man. And then the fact that he called the police now, he said it's a black man. So as I said, 8 cop cars arrived, 8. And you see what's happening on this bus, okay? I'm just going to play it again, and I will stop as we go through so I can do a little bit of narration. And to those who have already joined, or just joining, I should say, you'll get to see it again.
This is really what we're doing. Why?
So you can hear one black man saying he paid, repeatedly saying he paid. And by the way, all of the witnesses who are the people that are on the bus said that what that bus driver said by saying that he assaulted him and spat on him never took place. So there's a bunch of people on the bus and they're all saying that never happened. So we know this bus driver is a straight up anti-black racist liar.
What is this? To the max. Go to the max. To the max. To the max. Bro, to the max. What did the man do? I paid the money. What is this? This is really what we're doing. This is mine. This is not nice. This is not nice. I paid the money. Why are you touching the man? You understand? We paid. What is this money? Why is this guy? This is ridiculous.
So you hear the passenger saying he paid. You hear another woman saying this is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous. Come on. But he pays money. The guy pays. I'm not recording this. Brother, I paid. Brother, what? Talk to me again. Brother, talk to me again. Brother. No, I don't like my phone. This is what's wrong with you. I can't get up. Brother, what is wrong with you guys, bro? Brother, what is wrong with you? Let me move out of my phone first. What? This is what we're doing. Bro, this is not right. This man is happy the money. See? This is what we're doing. What is this, bro? What are you guys doing, bro? What are you doing, bro? You don't like it. Bro, what is this? I can't even get up, bro. I can't even get up.
So they're continually telling him to get up, but they're all like on top of him. So how's he supposed to get up, right? So he's saying, I can't, I'm trying to get up. And they're like, get up, get up. He's like, I'm trying to get up.
I'm trying to get up. You guys doing, bro? Hold on. Bro, what is this? Is police brutality, man. This is brutality, bro. I'm trying to get up. Give me a second, nothing. Brother, let me get up. Brother, let me grab my thing, bro. You didn't do a thing. Bro.
Okay, so these police officers kicked everybody off the bus. Says, this bus is no longer in service. You see the bus driver get off the bus, and now this brother is alone on the bus with these police officers. This is what really scares me because I shudder to think of what happened. They're roughing him up in front of people. They kick everybody off. So now I shudder to think what happened after everybody left the bus, including that lying, anti-Black, racist, French, Canadian bus driver. Okay. I made some calls and I'm hoping to get some calls back so I can find out what happened because I'm not letting this go. This bus driver lied. The man did a good thing, good Samaritan, by paying that extra $1 for the other person who, again, I say, I'm sure is Black. And this bus driver refused to accept that and drive the bus. Instead, he calls the police. So I am waiting for some calls back. I want to know what happened. I'm not letting this go. So now I'm going to talk about some statistics here because it's important to note that I took a screenshot of this bus and this route, 32 Chateauguay. That is on the south shore of Quebec. By the way, that's where I grew up. I grew up on the south shore, and I've talked about it. Moreover, the egregious anti-Black racism that I went through growing up on the south shore, and it's not changed. And I'll say this, that was probably, of all the time I've been living in Canada, that period of time growing up on the South Shore was the worst experiences of anti-Black racism I've ever experienced in my life living in Canada. So that's to tell you, when I saw that bus number, I said, oh, so we're in the South Shore. No surprise here. No surprise here. And of course, when it comes to a Black person, the police will come in 8 cops deep, 15 police officers. You got one Black man and you got 4 or 5 of them all piling on top of him. For what? Lies. Lies by an anti-Black racist. So that's the area that this took place in. And let me give you some statistics now when it comes to Black men in Quebec. They are 4 times more likely to be stopped by police officers. And then 66% overall to be stopped. Now, talking about the stops now, they are 4 times more likely to have excessive force used against them in these kinds of situations. Police are called, whatever the case is, they get stopped, whatever the case is. 137% more in municipal bylaw stops. 137% more. Okay. These are the statistics. Now, in a year, there's 150 complaints that are filed against Quebec police for, racial profiling and all of that stuff against Black people. And of that 150 in a year, only a handful actually make it past the complaint or to the complaint phase, let's just say. And only 4 of them actually make it to a point where it's disciplinary action taken. So 150, only a handful make it to a hearing, some sort of hearing, and only 4 end up in disciplinary action. That is the racist province of Quebec. And more and more and more, as a result of this lack of accountability that happens in this province when it comes to this kind of stuff, they just continue to do it. They do. They continue to do it. They continue to do it, and they will continue to do it. Let me give you some examples. There was a Black man who is a DJ, and he was, he had finished his set. It was around 2 a.m, and he was driving home. He was pulled over by the police because what? You're out at a suspicious hour. He's just driving home. But a Black man driving home at 2 o'clock in the morning is a suspicious hour. Not one of the folks, a Black man. Okay. Black men can be driving a vehicle that's not registered in their name, but it's registered to us no money. They're driving by. They're going this way, the cop car is going this way, or vice versa, right? They run the plate through, they do a U-turn, they stop the man, and they start asking questions. And sometimes it could become rough and violent, and sometimes it's not. This is what's going on in Quebec, non-stop. And it's not going to change. So this is why I keep saying to our brothers and sisters that live in Quebec, you need to leave that. It is not safe for y'all. It isn't. And until we get to a point in that province where they stop protecting these racist police officers, it's not going to stop. Until they get to a point where they acknowledge that racism actually exists in that province, it's not going to stop. Until they get to a point where, because we as Black people, we can sue, we can file complaints, and it gets tied up for years, right? And then oftentimes what happens is that Black person will just say, I'm just not worth my time, I give up. No. We need to continue to lean on them. We do. We need to continue to lean in. We need to continue to enforce that we are treated fairly. If you choose to live in that province, which again, I say, get out, okay? Get the heck out of there. All of y'all do not live in Quebec. It's not safe for Black people. I mean, Ontario is pretty bad too, but Quebec is really out of control, okay? I just gave you some statistics. 4 times more. 4 times more than the folks. Let's see what you all are saying here. Vanti, thank you so much for tuning in. It's really sad how the white race has labeled Black people as scary and bad people, which in fact, it's them. We've never made wars with nobody, but they have with every country on the planet. Facts. We are always just trying to mind our Black business. It is us since the beginning of time. Hi, Gold and Silver. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hey, Casavu Boo. Thanks so much for tuning in. Buckhorse, how you doing, Buckhorse? Thank you. Andre, good afternoon. Buckhorse, who and why? You just saw it. Isaac, you said both the bus company and law enforcement need to be sued and sanctioned. And you know what else, Isaac? I say these buses are supposed to have cameras, right? So here is another thing that's problematic. If the buses are supposed to have cameras, then why are we just taking the bus driver's word for it and then we're just running in and just jumping on this Black man? Why not come in, watch the cameras, ask some questions? None of that happened. They just rushed in and just went to town on this brother. So do you see what I mean? Because buses do have cameras. And we know if it was one of the folks, that's not how they would have been treated. Not how it would have went down on that bus. And if it was one of the folks that brother paid the fare for, the bus would have kept on going. That's why I'm convinced it was not. And a lot of people are saying, why didn't anybody, or even the person that the fare was paid for, why didn't he or she speak up? At this point, there was nothing anybody could have said. You heard so many people saying, he paid. And nobody, it didn't stop these police officers, right? They always come in hot and they come in ready, laser focused on just the Black man. And I'm going to do everything I can to just rough this person up. And they know, for the most part, that they'll get away with it. Beanie the Boss, you said facts. The driver is a liar. Oh, 100%. I believe the witnesses on the bus. They said it didn't happen. I believe it. But of course, you said, I do not agree at all. He paid the man's fare. Exactly. He paid the man's fare. So it was paid. Keep the bus moving. Refused to do that because he just wanted a Black man to suffer. I'm telling you, South Shore. South Shore. Yep. 100%. You said that they're trying to provoke Black men into uprising. Yeah, yep. And the black man could have complied, but he didn't comply. He fought because he didn't do anything wrong. And we keep saying, oh, black people just comply. But at what point? And I agree to some extent that depending on the circumstances, I do agree that you should try to comply, right? But sometimes it's like, look, I do nothing. And sometimes it's fear, it's fight or flight. All these things are going through your mind. Just imagine 8 cop cars and a bunch of officers rushing in. You're going to do your best to, defend yourself. And everybody on the bus was kicked off. Again, I'm very concerned about what happened when everybody left the bus, including the bus driver. By the way, that bus driver should be in trouble too for lying. We'll see. I'm waiting for some answers. I'm waiting, and I'm going to keep calling until I get some answers. Exactly, Baby Lane. They say racism doesn't exist, and they love to say that in Quebec too. Hey, more threads. How you doing? Nice to see you. It's been a while. Thanks so much for tuning in. Martha Allen, just for a bus fare. You said you used to drive the city bus and it's not that serious. Oftentimes, depending on the bus driver too, they'll let you go for $1. They're not going to make a big deal out of it. That's why I'm convinced it was a black person. I'm telling you, both people were black. Obviously, the brother who was getting roughed up by the police is black. I'm convinced that passenger is also black. Yeah, Baby Lane, I agree. They do. Just in theory, Layla Brown, just in theory. Hey, FBA Seattle, thanks for tuning in. No, we have, Layla, what we have is, I guess you can say it's the equivalent of a civil rights leaders. We have coalitions where we got a group of people that get together to fight for causes, right? We have one called the Black Secretariat, and they are fighting against the federal government for over 50 years of anti-Black racism against federal Black workers. And there's 45,000 members within that class action lawsuit. So we have coalitions like that for anti-Black racism against students. In the schools here, we have parents of Black children. Shout out to them. They're doing amazing things. So we have different, in Quebec, there's the, what are they called? I think they changed their name, but they used to be called the Red Coalition, and they've since changed their name. And they've got the former RCMP officers and lawyers and what have you that are part of that organization. And they're the ones that really step up for Black people in Quebec that go through things. So those are kind of what we have. We have quite a few of these bodies. And then within the government, we have the Canadian Human Rights Commission, which to me is just a waste of time. Ontario Human Rights Commission, waste of time, because they're also guilty and have admitted to anti-Black racism within their own body. So it's you're going to a body to complain about something against you, and they're also responsible for it. So it's it makes no sense. And so we don't really have an MLK or a Malcolm X, or no, we don't. We used to. They're no longer alive, but since then, no. So, oh wow, your studio, you said it happened to you in Kamloops, BC, and you had to leave. Yeah. Yes, Benny the boss, I agree. See if we can get him fired, just like Ashley Gonzalez. Yeah, that's why I'm not leaving this one alone at all, because I'm telling you, I grew up there. I went through a lot. My family went through a lot. Like I said, the most overt, the most atrocious way that we were treated in that area, South Shore. So I know that happened here. It was involving 2 Black people. And I know those lies because I have been lied on by the anti-Black racists in that area of Quebec many times. Me, my siblings, all of that. So I see that nothing's changed. I grew up in Quebec in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. Nothing has changed. So, Brogu, you're saying for the most part, Black people try to comply with the police. Police need to understand that they are taught to say, stop resisting while they are shaking you. Yep. Yep. Exactly. They're telling him, get up, get up. And he's like, I'm trying to get up. And they're all up on top of him. So, even when he did get up, they were still like all over the guy. So, I mean, sometimes even when you do comply, it ends up bad for you. Evelyn Freeman, you said you're in Las Vegas, Nevada. And when you are smart and rich, but you bully the poor and try to lure us to hurt us, it's going to show. And we don't like ugly hearted people like that if it's not sincere. This bus driver lied. He lied on this brother. It was very, very simple. And the humane thing to do would have been, all right, thank you. You paid the dollar. You paid the fare for him. Let us keep it moving. That's it. And maybe if you wanted to say to the guy, okay, next time, the fare is this much. Please make sure you have your full fare or whatever. But no. When you're an anti-Black racist, you're not willing to bend for a second for a Black person. You're not. And he wasn't. And he knew what he needed to do to make things happen the way that they happened, which was, I'm going to call the police. I'm going to lie. I'm going to say a Black person assaulted me and spat on me. And he knew exactly what would happen. 1 million police cars and a Black man being roughed up. He knew. And that's the bottom line. He wanted those Black people off the bus, even if it meant you're compromising everybody else who had somewhere to go. So everybody's been inconvenienced because he just didn't want those Black people to get a fair shake and to be on that bus. That's the bottom line. Prime 1473, you're right. Social media is the key to putting these anti-Black racists on blast. Because back in my day, there was no phones or anything. It was my word against theirs. So you can imagine. One of these days, I'm gonna share with y'all all that I went through. It's not even really a 1 hour situation. It's like a series. It's a documentary, really, to be honest. Hey, Aubrey Smoke, thanks so much. Yep, Buckhorse, he knew. So you know what, family? Here again in Canada, we go through it. We go through it here. So let's see. Bissy Biscuit, you said Greyhound bus drivers are the worst. Oh, wow. They can kick you off the bus for anything, no matter how far you is or no matter when the next bus is coming, if they even got room. Yeah, and dare to resist and see what happens, right? Terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But I'm like I said, I've made some calls and I'm going to keep calling and I'm going to keep calling. I'm going to be like a fly in their face. I'm not letting this go at all. And I'm also trying to see if I can get a hold of the brother that got roughed up so that we can get an update on what's going on. Thank you so much. Del Monte Green Beans. Thank you. I appreciate you very much. You said, do they think we're Jason or something? I mean, they think we're so many things and everything not human, all because of the color of our skin. So there you have it. And that brother was in a shirt and tie, looking good. It doesn't matter. You could be wearing a Liberace outfit and have all kinds of diamond rings and what have you. They would not perceive you as somebody who is wealthy. They'll perceive you as somebody that's maybe a drug dealer or a gangster or a pimp or something along those lines. So really, the only thing they see is your skin color, and that's how they decide how they're going to treat you. And in this case, it didn't matter that this man had a very corporate look. Didn't matter at all. He just didn't want those people on the bus. And that's the bottom line. Despicable. South Shore, Quebec. Y'all need to get it together, man. But anyway, like I said, Black people, leave that province. Leave that province. Do not stay in Quebec. It's not going to get any better. If I can say this, being somebody that grew up there in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and we're now in 2026 and it's still happening, that's to tell you how it's not going to change. So, you need to decide where you want to live. And Quebec ain't it for Black people. It's not. Anyhow, family, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you very much. Before I love you and leave you, I'm going to remind you to grab the African Diaspora News Channel app. If you haven't already, please make sure that you do so. You will not be disappointed. Wonderful content. Make sure that you grab that app. And also in the description field of this broadcast, you'll see a link to come to the ADNC Narrative Power Summit. Come hang out with us. We'll all be there. Grab your tickets. All the information is there. So if you click on the link, you will see all of the information there. So just make sure you come hang out with us. We'd love to meet you all. So we hope that you grab your tickets, and we shall see you hopefully on July 25th in Toronto. And, I know I'm talking about all these things that are happening to Black people in Toronto, but I promise you'll have a good time. You'll have a good time. You'll be amongst us. It'll be all your brothers and sisters in Canada, United States, and even Africa. So come hang out with us. All right. Yes, Aubrey, take a look at it and let me know what you think. I appreciate you. Yes, Raymond Franklin, I agree. The imagination, the perception, everything of Black people is very dangerous, and they use their whiteness to weaponize us big time. So we always have to be ready, right? We got to be ready, and we got to take those few minutes to think about how we're going to manage or handle what's about to happen to us, right? So that's it, family. I'm not going to keep you much longer. Thank you so much for tuning in. I shall see you tomorrow. Same time, same channel, and yet another situation coming out of Canada. Ugh. Thank you so much, family. I shall see you tomorrow. Be safe.